everybody's going to have a little bit of time to talk to you about becoming a trailblazer and what they've learned along the way. I'm going to actually stand up here and introduce every single one, and then they'll go in order and talk to you. So we're going to start. The first person who's going to speak to you is Bonnie Isacson Marcoux. Bonnie, yes. Bonnie is a true entrepreneur at heart, actively teaching infinite possibility workshops, and after completing her first retreat in March, the second annual international retreat is scheduled. With the dream to live and work anywhere, Bonnie is currently living in Canada in the summer and in Mexico in the winter with her husband and family. Bonnie's own experience in teaching and coaching others to be successful entrepreneurs motivates her each and every day. This is Bonnie Isacson Marcoux. Our next panelist is Tom DeWolf. Tom became a certified trainer in January in Orlando. So that was just 6 months ago. He qualified as a trailblazer in May. Tom weaves the IP philosophy into his trauma healing work. Tom is a published author with Beacon Press and a public speaker and workshop leader at colleges, conferences, and corporations. He is featured in the Emmy-nominated PBS documentary film, Traces of the Trade. With compassion and humor, Tom illuminates a path toward healing and a more hopeful future. Tom DeWolf. And next we have Julie Hunt. Julie spent 25 years building a successful corporate career, only to be tossed aside and downsized. Devastated, bewildered, and without identity, she began her transformational journey and found herself pursuing more meaningful work. Her mission is to help you move from burnout, stagnation, or frozen in fear living to creating a balanced life you can't wait to jump out of bed and live every day. Julie became an Infinite Possibilities certified trainer in 2013. Julie Hunt. Next we have Elenie Anastas. Elenie believes in living the IP way every day, walking the walk, not just talking the talk. She is a certified money, marketing, and soul coach who helps entrepreneurs turn dreams into profitable businesses while leading balanced and joyful lives. Elenie became certified in Infinite Possibilities just this past January, 2015, and has incorporated the IP principles into her existing coaching work, both with individuals and groups. Elenie Anastas. And last we have Jeffrey Hutcherson, affectionately known on the team as Hot Chocolate. Jeff is the author of Transformative New Thoughts. He's also a massage therapist, energy healer, artist of life, coach, former international online radio talk show co-host, and most importantly, he is a happy man. He is a certified Infinite Possibilities trainer as of January, which he adds to his ever-expanding playground of work. He lives a joyful, playful, passionate life, and he shares it in joy. Jeffrey Hutcherson. And now I am going to turn the microphone over to the panel, and they are going to delight and inspire you. And we're going to start off with Bonnie.
Thank you, Regina. I feel so honored to be here and sharing with each and every one of you. Attending Infinite Possibilities in Chicago in 2014 has literally been a life-changing experience for me. After 23 years in the corporate aviation world, I realized that helping others to succeed was what I enjoyed most, and it wasn't going to be on an airplane. Starting my own consulting business led me to teaching and coaching other entrepreneurs to build the business of their dream, and Infinite Possibilities was a perfect fit for my business. Each and every one of you are here to succeed. You may not know that yet, but you are. Some of you may know exactly what you want from this program, and you're ready to book your Trailblazer class. And others may be here to learn the concepts and better understand this program, to be able to pull it into your own life in some way. Either way, each and every one of you are on this path for a reason. The number one thing I want you to know is you are not alone in this process. First, you are here literally taking training from Mike Dooley himself. It really doesn't get any better than that. As you begin to understand this life-changing program and realize the power that you currently have in your own life, you'll begin moving forward in a direction that you have never known before. One thing I know about myself, I certainly can get in my own way, and I need a deadline. So before I left Infinite Possibilities, I had a deadline, and I had already started creating my list of people that were going to, they didn't know it yet, but they were going to take my class. So with the energy and excitement that you will have within yourself, and you're more than likely seeing that now, you will go home with that same energy, and I really encourage you to start setting up that class. You will be so surprised how quickly it happens. So I wanted my participants to know that I would be teaching this life-changing workshop free of charge, and all I was asking for was the commitment of their time and participation. So within 2 weeks after leaving Chicago, I had my 6 participants booked, my start date and times for my Trailblazer class. So what next? Using the trainer guide, I literally taught myself the program while I worked through the manual. I was making notes, picking out videos, deciding on my stories that I was going to tell, and at the same time building my PowerPoint presentation. You get to decide how you would like your class. My choice, I taught my class over a 4-week period, and we met one evening a week. And I wanted 2.5 hours per class because I really didn't know how long it was going to take me, because I didn't know what kind of interaction I was going to have with my group. So it worked out awesome. I did the training in my own home. So the next step is I changed my living room into my new training room. And I don't have kids at home, so it all worked. So I had the TV moved upstairs, and on the TV I showed my videos and my PowerPoint, and then I started to practice over and over again. I was teaching me, myself, and my cat. And the cat would look at me because I was in his space, and he would turn around and leave the room because he could see I was talking to myself. So when I needed a check-in to remind myself of the energy I so enjoyed from this program, I watched Andy Dooley's activation video. And I continued to visualize my program going well, and all the right people being there for my class. So the next step, let the class begin. My first class included 6 women, ages 24 to 57. Remembering your class introduction sets the stage for you and your participants. Taking the time needed to build the rapport necessary for each of them to feel comfortable in your class is very important. I had each participant interview each other using a set questions, and then they presented that person to the group, and it was a really good way of getting to know each other. So you get to decide on the teaching style that you would like to use. It can be as easy as sitting around the classroom table or to a full professional presentation. It's your choice. So be confident in your ability. This material has been professionally designed and presented by many trainers. Remember, each and every trainer will have their own unique style in presenting this material, and of course, depending on their audience. So the reality of it all, was I feeling overwhelmed with all the new material and at the conference? Yes, absolutely I was. And I continued to tell myself that this is what I wanted to do, and I was not stopping. So there are 3 things that I would like to share with each of you. First, you are now part of an amazing organization. Tut Enterprises are here to help and support you along the way. Mike Dooley has designed this detailed, standalone program based on his New York Times best-selling book, Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams. You now have access to training resources that are just unlimited. And you are also a part of a very large group of trainers known as IPPEs. And you probably have noticed they're a little noisy. When someone says to you that they're willing to help, believe them. Reach out, get connected. This amazing group of professionals openly share their knowledge, skills, and abilities. What a gift. In fact, one thing I have realized, it just keeps getting better and better every day. In fact, you have in front of you right now all the material that you need to become a trailblazer. A great motivator when you get home is print off the sheet and start filling it in. Stepping out of your comfort zone and making a commitment to yourself is a very rewarding experience. You can make infinite possibilities, whatever you would decide it to be in your life. Personally, I love teaching infinite possibilities. I currently hold ongoing classes, and I do a yearly retreat in Huatulco, Mexico. I recently certified with Mike Dooley in playing the Matrix, and I'm really looking forward to adding that to my workshops. I have been known to say, this is your life, not dress rehearsal, you know. And I remember the day I found infinite possibilities. I was going through a shift in my life, and I realized I was not living the life to the fullest. I knew very quickly I wanted to be part of this community. And you will find when you start taking one baby step at a time, there will be no stopping you. Working with others and creating the life of their dreams has been one of my most rewarding career moves I have ever experienced. And as this program teaches, thriving is our default setting, not surviving. In closing, I want to remind you to enjoy your journey, have fun, and be yourself. Thank you.
Hey! I didn't want you to say it back. I started receiving the notes from the universe about 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, and it was right around the time that I had completed the manuscript for my first book. And I had found a literary agent to represent me, and a few months later I had a contract with Beacon Press. Very heady type. And in my book that was published in 2008, I thanked a whole bunch of people for their support and their inspiration, including a certain Mike Dooley. Now, I hadn't actually met Mike. I didn't meet him until 6 months ago in Orlando, but I gotta tell you, some of my best friends are people that I've never met. They're people who I know through their books, through the truths that they write and share that touch my heart. And I've understood the truth of infinite possibilities for a really long time, long before I even knew I knew it, you know what I mean? And in the trauma healing work that I do, I incorporate IP because I understand that thoughts become things is a scientific and biological fact that creates change in our world. And our world needs changing. It needs healing. I'm descended from the largest slave trading dynasty in US history. People that I'm related to brought more than 10,000 people in chains from West Africa to North and South America and the Caribbean islands over 3 generations and 50 years. They created a lot of trauma in this world. So this work goes right to the core of everything that I do and who I am. In 2001, I joined 9 distant relatives, cousins, to retrace the triangle slave trade route of our ancestors from this country to Ghana in West Africa and Cuba and back. And I grew up thinking that slavery was a southern thing. Come to find out that 95% of all transatlantic slave trading done out of the US was done out of the North. That all 13 original colonies practiced slavery. Our entire economy upon which this nation was built on slavery. When I returned home from Cuba to Oregon, a few months later, I flew down here to Southern California where I grew up to celebrate with my parents their 50th wedding anniversary. So this is November of 2001. And that weekend I spoke to Mr. Bailey. He's a member of one of 2 black families in the church where I grew up in Pomona, California. And I said, Mr. Bailey, I learned all of this stuff that I never learned in school. And I remember him placing his hand on my shoulder and looking right into my eyes, and he said, son, now that you know the truth, you're responsible for it. I've learned a lot of truth over the years, and I understand my responsibilities. That's why my cousins and I made the movie you heard about in my introduction, Traces of the Trade. Premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, went on PBS. It's why I write books. It's why I committed to becoming a trailblazer to share these truths in the work that I do. I'm executive director for an organization called Coming to the Table. Coming to the Table provides leadership and resources and a supportive environment for people who are interested in acknowledging and working towards healing for traumatic wounds from long ago. It's from Coming to the Table that I began to understand that historic wounds, when they are not healed, and present-day wounds, when they are not healed, get passed on to future generations. Why? Because our thoughts become things. So, for those of you who are interested in becoming trailblazers, whether you want to teach IP directly or incorporate it into the work that you're already doing, here's a few tips of things that helped me along the way. First of all, if anybody, you got the map on the TUG website that will tell you where all certified trainers live. If there's somebody who lives near you who's a certified trainer, consider collaborating, working on a class together. I met a guy in Orlando, Florida, named Mark Offenbacher, and turns out we live 15 minutes from each other in Oregon. And Mark and I decided to do our first class together. You got twice the energy, twice the people, to look for people to join the club. Join the classes. Mark started a meetup.com group for infinite possibilities in Central Oregon. There's more than 40 people in that group now. We advertised on Facebook, through emails, talking to friends. We had friends inviting friends because they got so excited about the possibilities here. We had 3 people attend our workshop that we didn't invite, that were invited by friends. We rented a space from a local nonprofit, which I highly recommend. It's usually a very reasonable rate, and you're supporting people who are doing good work in the community. You can also rent rooms from community colleges, hotels, businesses with conference rooms, and usually at very reasonable rates. Second, work with a mentor. This is the most supportive and encouraging group of people I have ever encountered in my life. Another person I met in Orlando, who lives 15 minutes away from me, is our wonderful stage manager this weekend, Wendy Isaac. And she mentored Mark and I as we were creating our class. She went out to lunch with us untold numbers of times and bounced ideas off of her. She shared her experiences, her stories, and it was a real comfort and a real support system. The third thing I want to recommend from personal experience is to sign up for the Trailblazer Mastermind course. You can sign up this weekend. It's 14 weeks, jam-packed with all that you need to succeed in this work. You're going to get resources, you're going to get ideas, you're going to have opportunities to practice your speeches, your trainings. It's led by Regina and Gretchen, who are wonderful to work with, and you have a core group of people then in your class that become an even tighter part of your tribe for working together. And speaking of resources, go on the TUT website and look at all the resources that are available, and go to the Train the Trainer Facebook page. It is loaded. I mean, you've got PowerPoints, exercises, activities, introductory letters, sample flyers, experiences that other IPPEs have had over these past years in teaching their classes. There's so much there that's available. There's 2 videos that Mike put together. One, an introductory video that Mark and I use, as well as a congratulations for the end of the class that we use. It adds extra credibility we felt, to our class, and we're really well received. We used movie clips to highlight, like for instance, the taking action portion. We used a clip out of the movie Pursuit of Happiness, where Will Smith is talking to his son. He says, "Don't ever let nobody tell you that you can't do something, not even me. You got a dream, go get it, period." There's so many things that are available for you to use. The last thing I will tell you is you've got a choice to make on whether you want to teach over multiple weeks or you want to do it all in one big shot, which is what Mark and I did. We did one full day on a Saturday. And you got to decide whether you want to charge people or not. We decided, since we're getting Trailblazer status out of this, we'll give it to people for free, and we wanted to fill up our class real quickly and not worry about it. And so we ended up with 13 people spending all day with us. We fed them lunch, we fed them breakfast, well, scones. But they were really good scones. And we made nice sandwiches and salads and stuff for lunch. And I will tell you, one of the things when we first started our class, a thing I highly recommend is setting up a set of agreements, how you're going to operate with each other within your class. Things like maintaining confidentiality, trusting that we're all here with good intentions, just creating a safe space so people are comfortable in sharing with each other. We also did, we had a big space, but we pushed all the tables together and put the chairs around them so we're all facing each other all day. So we're in contact, eye contact with each other. It was really good. And I gotta tell you, not everybody's gonna love your class or you. Some people are gonna reject this entire philosophy out of hand. Other people are gonna embrace every word. And then most everybody is gonna take something away, a lot of things away, that are going to serve them well for the rest of their lives. We're planting seeds here. Some are going to grow right away, some will grow later, some may not grow in this lifetime. That's okay. And some of you may feel nervous about doing this. That's okay too. We all have things about being in front of other people that are a little fearful. But I want you to understand something. You choose the things you fear. And you choose them for a reason. And what you fear is your own greatest teacher. Whoa, that was good. Mike, you should write that one down. That's a note from the universe. It doesn't matter what you do after this weekend, but it matters that you do something. Okay, I'm going to remind you what Mr. Bailey reminded me in 2001. You're learning a lot of truth this weekend. Things they never taught you in school. And now, you're responsible for it.
returning trainers and those of you watching from home. All of you are already my favorite people because you gifted yourself with this training. So this afternoon, I want to share with you the power of baby steps, how to reframe fear, that there's no need for perfection, and how to let the universe bring it all to fruition. And of course, I have to also give you my favorite Andy Dooley tool and the science behind it. It was about 2.5 years ago. I sat right where you were. I was at an all-time low in my life, and I was sure I would never teach this material. I came to this training for myself. It was my last-ditch effort to find my mojo after losing a 25-year career that left me devastated. And Mike Dooley said one thing, he said a lot of things, but he said one thing that changed everything for me. He said, all you have to do is take baby steps to ignite the magic of the universe. Wow. All I had to do was take baby steps. Now, prior to this, I thought I had to take great, big, giant steps every single day to accomplish anything. I would put too many things on my task list. I would jump from one thing to the other, and at the end of the day, I would be extremely exhausted and have very little accomplished. I know none of you can relate to that, can you? I decided to stop that cycle and take baby steps, trusting that everything would be okay. When I left here, I was not only going to teach this material, but it was imperative that I get out and be a change agent in this world. I was ignorance on fire. I couldn't even contain my excitement. My husband said I was like a fart in a windstorm. And I sat in this training and I created my baby step task list, things I was going to do when I got home. I put on that list, set a date, create a list of people to invite to my class, send out an email, familiarize myself with the presenter's materials, create or identify personal stories that I could use with each session. Personal stories are those things that connect you with your audience. So for thoughts become things, I use this story about how I thought myself out of a job. And for the beliefs section, I tell about the story, how I had installed into me the belief that life was hard. And as an adult, what was returned to me were more life experiences that were hard. I also put on that list, read some of Mike's favorite books so I could better educate myself and feed my mind the right things. I put on there, join Toastmasters, start networking. And I set up coffee appointments, and before you know it, I had 2 classes on my calendar. I was only going for one. When you live the infinite possibilities principles, you look better, you feel better, you have more energy, and you age slower. And who doesn't want a little bit of that action? People signed up for my class like there was no tomorrow. They had no idea what they were signing up for. All they knew was they wanted to come to my class and have a little bit in their life of what I had in mind. And if you've seen When Harry Met Sally, I think you all can relate to that. After those 2 classes were set, I have to let you know, I let fear creep into my thoughts. And I poured through those materials. I read Mike's book until it was ragged. I'm so glad I got a new one this weekend. And I decided to reframe fear to, you might want to write this down, fully engage all resources. fully engage all resources. I held my first class in my living room. I used an easel with a white pad on it to write key points and draw pictures for those that needed pictures. And because I set my date to be only about 2 or 3 weeks out, there really was no time for perfection. So I had to make some decisions, and I decided just doing the class alone was perfection. I also decided that speaking from my heart and following those materials are what really made it perfect. It's a turnkey operation, just waiting for you to ignite it with your passion and your excitement. And this is what I tell my clients about perfection, and I believe this is true for all of you as well. Stop striving for perfection. You were born perfect, and that box has been checked, and it cannot be unchecked. And I am a recovering perfectionist. Thank you, Regina Garapi. Now you can imagine that once you go home from something like this, all of a sudden those subconscious limiting beliefs start to come up, like there's no tomorrow, kind of like the geyser. And I had to have a tool that would help me with that, and Andy Dooley gave me Stop, Cancel, Clear. And the way I visualized Stop, Cancel, Clear in my mind was that, every time we have a thought, it travels through the neural pathways in your brain. And it always comes to a fork in the road, and it can go right or it can go left. And those automatic subconscious thoughts, they automatically turn left. They don't even acknowledge that fork in the road. So when you say stop, you're telling that thought to stop at the fork in the road. And when you say cancel, you're saying cancel that automatic left turn. And when you're saying clear, you're saying clear a new pathway to the right. It is a conscious way for you to deal with limiting beliefs that have been holding you back in your life. It is possible for you to go from here today to go home. Be that ignorance on fire. Reframe fear. Let go of perfection. Let the universe bring you the how. And you can do whatever stirs in your heart. I started my own company. Regina told you what it did earlier. I call myself a hope dealer, and all my deals are above the table. I tell you that because every one of my programs is based on the principles that I learned in this room. You can go home and you can create a business with this. You can do any type of class, any type of workshop, and work with any type of person, any group of people. They are universal principles. When you walk out that door on Sunday, you will have been ippyized. You will no longer be the same person that walked in here on Thursday. And I encourage you to listen to whatever it is that's stirring in your heart, and what do you want to do with this once you return a changed person. Is the vision going to be a little scary and a little big? Yep, sorry, that's what we do here in IP. We play big. Do you have to worry about that part? No. What you have to do is you have to be the one that has the vision, the passion, the excitement, takes the baby steps, and the universe will always bring you the how. Everybody has two choices when they walk out of this room on Sunday. You can take that beautiful notebook that all of us on the team put together for you, and you can throw it in a corner in your house, and you can say, someday I'll get to that. Or you can fully engage all resources and choose to live the IP principles and or teach them. Let me help you with this decision. When you live the IP principles, you look better, you feel better, you age more slowly, and you have more energy. What's going to be your choice?
and welcome to the family. In a couple of days, you'll get home from this amazing Train the Trainer conference, and you'll be basking in the glow of infinite possibilities, smiling from ear to ear, your mind racing, thinking of all the people you want to share IP with, reaching those who have not yet been reached. You're excited to become a trailblazer, and then a bit of overwhelm sets in. How do I get started? Where do I do this? What do I need for my first class? Well, relax. We are here to help you on your journey. I was first introduced to those wonderful notes from the universe just last August, and I attended the Train the Trainer in January. I was so excited when I left there. I was calling friends before I even got home. I was oozing iffy love. But I was nervous, and I admit that. I just didn't want my nerves to stop me. I joined the Trailblazer Mastermind group that Regina and Gretchen facilitate. It is a wonderfully supportive environment. You can really test the waters and hone your skills. I, of course, read through the trainer's guide, went through the workbook again, reached out to wonderful family members that I met in Orlando, watched webinars. I did a lot of homework, but that helped with my nerves and it opened up space for the excitement, for the joy. I began implementing the IP principles immediately into my coaching work one-on-one, but I still wanted that first class. So I created a one-page flyer and just shared that with a few friends. My first class included 9 people, and we just met once a week for 4 weeks. The very first class began with agreements, and that is so important to set up the sacred space. You're asking people to share a lot, and they need to know it's safe and that it's a judgment-free zone. I had detailed lesson plans. That's definitely the teacher in me. And that included supporting songs and videos and activities that encourage people to share with each other, and movement. Movement is always going to stimulate thinking on a different level, and it helps keep everyone awake. So high five the person next to you and say, "You rock."
You rock.
So keep in mind when you're planning your own lessons that you want activities that encourage people to be actively engaged to make learning more impactful. One of my favorite was around limiting beliefs. We discussed them in class. Participants shared how the limiting beliefs had impacted their lives. They then wrote them on paper. We walked outside, formed a circle. I placed an iron pot on the ground. One by one, they placed their papers in. I set them on fire. We literally watched our limiting beliefs burn and dissolve away, and it opened up space for new possibilities. I used the workbook as homework, and then each successive class began with takeaways and key points and celebrations. You definitely want to give people a chance to acknowledge and celebrate those steps, even baby steps, that lead in the direction of living deliberately and consciously. One of my biggest takeaways from my first class was the wonderful reminder that we are all on a journey. We may be on different paths at different points, but it reinforced that infinite possibilities applies to anyone, anywhere, at any time. I don't know. I don't know is a legitimate response to a question. You may be caught off guard sometime. You're going to be asking people to dig deep. For some it's a little scary. For some it's a real leap of faith. They may have questions around why some things worked out in their lives and why some things did not. It's okay to say, "I don't know." During my first class, actually in the first few minutes, one of the participants said, "I don't believe in this, I've tried it, it doesn't work." She said, "I really believed this would happen for me. I thought it would happen for me. If thoughts become things, why didn't this happen for me?" I said, "I don't know why that didn't happen for you. But what I do know is that you can choose to live deliberately and consciously from this day forward." So focus on their ability to choose while you guide them on a path of self-discovery using the IP principles. Listen with love, respect where they're at, and start there. And please note, though, when you are teaching a class, your first responsibility is to the group. If you get drawn into one-on-one coaching repeatedly with the same person, what happens to the rest of the people? You, of course, can validate them, follow up if appropriate, but if you're teaching several people, your first responsibility is to the group. And always know it's not about perfect, thinking you have to have an amazing venue, wonderful technology all the time, and beautiful PowerPoints. Don't wait for perfect. There is a lot of amazing material available to you, but the reality is, you can share this work in a park, sitting under a tree, in your living room. It doesn't matter. Being authentic, listening with love, far more impactful than technology or a comfortable venue. And above all else, always know the most important thing you will bring to that first class and all others is you. So reflect back on your life, your journey. Think of the challenges and triumphs you've already experienced, how they relate to infinite possibilities. We all have a story, and sharing yours could be just what one of your participants needs to hear for inspiration and motivation. Less than 2 years ago, I didn't know how I was going to eat from one week to the next. Prior to that time, I was teaching high school, very actively involved in my work, was the current teacher of the year, when my life as I knew it changed one afternoon. During a school-wide assembly in the gym, I got knocked down, trampled, and violently kicked repeatedly. I sustained serious physical injuries, was in constant pain, suffering with PTSD, and I couldn't work. It's my belief that the district staged a cover-up because I was cut off financially. I lost my house and really struggled. But even on the worst day, I never once thought I wouldn't make it through that ordeal. I just didn't know when or how, and I didn't focus on the cursed hows. I also didn't focus on what I would call the cursed whys. Why did this happen to me? Get the gift out of the situation, learn what you can learn, but don't live there. I began taking some kind of action daily. Even the smallest steps help keep my thoughts focused on succeeding. I visualized myself feeling stronger, joyful, empowered. Now I am thriving in every way, including financially in my own business because I believed and thought it was possible, and I took action. The power and importance behind your beliefs and thoughts is immeasurable. Now, does it mean that your life is always going to be easy from this point forward? No. But it does mean you can choose to live deliberately and consciously. I'm reminded of a note from the universe. If you only knew how many miracles you've already performed, nothing would ever again overwhelm you, frighten you, or seem impossible. So remember, the possibilities are infinite, and enjoy the journey.
Wow, you guys have said everything I wanted to say. You guys are in trouble. Chocolate's going off script. Get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready. You guys having fun today?
Yeah.
Okay, no. Are you guys having fun today? That's what I'm talking about. Look, when I taught this class, when I got excited about this, what you see before you right now, you've heard from them, but also understand this too. When we say, go out there and have an invitation, invite somebody, I didn't know anything about this course or this class. I just said, look, I'm going to see Mike Dooley. I'm going to have some fun. We're going to talk about how we can change our lives, speak better, feel better, and have more fun. I'm going to be teaching a class on it. Do you want to come? And people wanted to show up. I told them nothing about what the book was about. I said, it's based off the book, and I'm going to be teaching from that. And here's the cool part. When that happened, they brought more people to the class. I had more people than expected. I told them flat out, look, I just need 6 people to make this Trailblazer status. It's going to be free. Come on to my house and let's party. First class, I had 12 people. It's not a big deal, but I only had 6 books. So I was able to print off another 6 books. Now, the way this class is set up and all the information you have here, it is totally amazing. Now, for me to even do this, please understand, I grew up going to School of the Arts, being a theater major, talking in front of people is not a big deal for me. Not at all. But I got conditioned to be that way. A lot of you have been conditioned to be more subdued. Might not be as big as outrageous as I am, and that's totally fine. But please, please understand that for you to grow, you got to say yes to your life. Say yes to your dreams. Say yes that I am worthy. Yes that I can have it.
Yes.
Yes. See, one person. This whole room. Give me a yes. Yes. See, doesn't that feel better when you put your energy into the game? When you are saying you are going to be a player. When you live your life from your yes, it gets incredible. Now understand, when I was doing this, when I stepped up to my yes, there was a question of, I wasn't sure. Okay, so I played with that energy for a second. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but am I going to let that stop me? I said, no, gotta keep going. So when I did that, teaching, speaking, connecting to the audience, I'm not trying to be an author. I'm not trying to be a massage therapist. I'm not trying to be a life coach. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of titles, but nothing is most important than being a happy man first.
Yeah.
I get happy first. I follow my inspiration and I do things. That's how it turned out for me. To be up here today, to be a trailblazer, I said yes to it, and I made my decisions based on the things I wanted in my life, not from what I was running from. Write that down. Make your decisions based on what you want in your life, not what you're running from. I was moving towards my greatness. I was moving towards my happiness. I was moving towards my abundance and things and everything that I could experience in my life. I woke up today and I said, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. And then my happiness shows up. And to all of you people coming into this room, to the people I met on the elevator, walking down the halls, having breakfast with, people yelling out, hot chocolate, I don't know them. But having that recognition of knowing hot chocolate just came from out of nowhere, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the fun part, because what you see before you is someone, again, who is happy. There are a ton of Jeffs out there in this world. There's only one hot chocolate, baby. If you don't know, now you know. Moving into the next phase of understanding how you can be a trailblazer, what this meant, we all have a particular level of unworthiness that we deal with. Let's hit this head on. Use no life experience that you've ever had as a reason to think less of yourself. That is straight up, total BS. Belief system. Well, it's the other one too, but understand that use no excuse as a reason for you to think yourself less than. You are totally loved and supported all day, every day. The greatest gift we have is each other. I sat in the chairs just like you. A friend of mine, now a friend of mine, said to me, are you going to be a trailblazer? Yep. I was watching Mike, I was watching Andy, I was reminded that I can do this. I was reminded that there was something special inside of me. There is something that is very unique in each and every one of you, and you deserve to be heard. Allow yourself to be you. I'm just excited. I'm just happy. And things are turning out. Things are always working in my favor, even when I don't know it. Write that down. Things are always working in your favor, even when you don't know it. You know what? I'm just going to have to tell them. I'm going to have to tell you. Now, I'm going to tell you, and you can't unknow this after I tell you. Sorry, don't let anybody out of the room. Look, you know what's happening here in this world, this playground that we call Earth? This is an emotional world that we are in. Now, what I mean by that is that it's not the partner, it's not the money, it's not the car, it's not the wardrobe. You think you want those things because you think it will be good in the experience of having them. You say, I want this, and I'm going to feel so good when I achieve it. You allow yourself to feel good. Wonderful. You are that powerful. You are so powerful and you are so free that you chose bondage because you hadn't let yourself have those things yet. And that's okay. That's totally okay. So if it's not the money, it's not the partner, it's not the wardrobe, if I get those things, I'm going to choose to feel good. Now, if you're going to play with me on this, this makes the idea of loss laughable. Because now, how can you lose anything when everything you'll ever have will be the feeling that you generate? I'll wait. I'm serious. When you recognize how much joy you have in your life, when you recognize how abundant you already are, when you recognize how supported you already are, when you say, hey, I want this, but I doubt I can get it. Well, I guess you just got your expectation, didn't you? Expectation is simply this. If you expect it, you believe it, you will achieve your expectations. If you expect it, but you doubt it, you will not get your expectations. You choose. You get this whole point in choosing. Your life is going to boil down to 4 words. If you say so. And I'm not here to debate it with it. You already know this. And so when I was teaching Infinite Possibilities, I'm teaching you what you already know. You just haven't acknowledged yourself enough to see how powerful you truly are, to know how wonderful you truly are. Say to yourself, I love me for who I am, no matter what.
I love me who I am, no matter what.
You have everything you need in this class. In this workbook, everything you need to teach a gangbuster class. It's all here for you. Page 30, you just got those points that you can teach from every chapter in the book. Infinite Possibilities, the idea of being supported, is in everything that you are interested in. Case in point, Infinite Possibilities and the Muppet movie. The original Jim Henson Muppet movie. You take the chapters of the book, you can watch the movie and just point through each one, and they're going to go through that in the movie. It comes up, I am not kidding, and they even sum it up in the last 2 scenes of the movie of all the points in Infinite Possibilities. It's amazing. I can do an Infinite Possibilities class using Bugs Bunny. I'm serious, I can do it. I can do it with Fraggle Rock, I can do it with Transformers. I can do it with about anything that I can imagine because I can find it, I can hear it, I've tuned myself to it. Now, one of the things that's very amazing for me is that I taught my class, someone graduated from my class, and she's here today. Ladies and gentlemen, say yes to being a trailblazer. Not just to be up on this stage, but being a trailblazer and living the life of your dreams. Saying yes to who you are, saying yes to the life that you can create. Know right here and right now that you are worthy. You have never been in question, and there is nothing outside of you that's going to stand in judgment and punish you in any way, shape, or form. You are loved beyond measure.
Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hot Chocolate, and thank you very much. My name is really Jet Free.
Another round of applause for them. I have to admit, I'm a little bit of a mama bear when it comes to the panel, because I was there when they all got trained, and I saw when their applications came in, and I saw how their thoughts became things to be on the stage. And this particular conference with the cameras and the lights, it takes great courage to be up here. And I felt very moved to see how what they wanted to share with you, what they wanted to say, and to see them do it so well. I'm very proud of all of you.